Here we go again for the next to last session that we deal with the book of Revelation. Again, let me review the 6 themes that I have sort of pulled out of my own study of the book of Revelation in 2021 and getting ready to make these introductory presentations to you. First is that hope is the business of the church, the business of the faithful. Secondly, hope is pointing to a star in the moonless night. Thirdly, hope is discovering the divine in the devastation. Fourthly, hope is discovering direction when all is lost. Fifth, hope is like a thief in the night. That is for this week. And finally, hope is experiencing victory before the game is over. So, let's deal with Revelation 15 to 18. Chapter 15 is sort of a prelude, if you will, to victory. The faithful sing a song of deliverance from devastating danger. There's a reference to the song of Moses, delivered from the slavery in Egypt, and the Lamb, delivered from the persecution of the crucifixion through the resurrection and ascension. It's a celebration of the martyrs who have been rescued by God and have witnessed the suffering of the unfaithful. The greatness of God is proclaimed. Then a surprise, like a thief in the night. A reference that is found in 1 Thessalonians, a reference that's found in the book of Matthew. Again, these recipients of the letter were familiar with Hebrew writings and early Christian writings. They knew about the element of surprise. And the element of surprise was the 7 angels appear and are given 7 bowls containing the wrath of God. Remember, 7 is the symbol of completeness and wholeness. Now we see the whole deal, the complete deal of God's wrath in triumph over the devil. This is it, and it's described in chapter 16 when the bowls of wrath are poured out on those who have the mark of the beast, the sign that they worship the emperor as God. And the 7 bowls simply symbolize that God reigns over all of the affairs of the world. And God reigns not only over the faithful, but over the unfaithful as well. Recall Maddie's sermon on March the 14th. Some have chosen, she said, to walk in the light. Others have chosen to walk in darkness. And John the Baptist said God reigns over both. The battle of battles between light and darkness for John, the battle of battles between evil and good, the battle of battles between God and the devil is outlined in chapter 13. Now, it's not good bedtime reading, friends. It's pretty ugly stuff. Beginning in 1613, and I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits like frogs, for they are spirits of demons, performing signs which go out to the kings of the whole world, to gather them together for the war of the great day of God, the Almighty. Behold, I am coming like a thief in the night. Blessed is the one who stays awake and keeps his garments, lest he walk around naked and people see his shame. And they gathered them together to the place which is the Hebrew called Armageddon. That's the source of the great battle that is referred to quite often by different groups in their expression of the Christian faith. Now, Babylon is the symbolic name for Rome. Again, you can't write about Rome because the people would see what you're writing about, and the letter would never be delivered. And so, indeed, he refers to it as Babylon. That empire that took the Christians into captivity. It took the Jewish nation into captivity. But at the end of the battle, it's all over. And John of Patmos says, God reigns, God wins, it is done. And on this Palm Sunday and Passion Sunday week, remember Jesus' comment on the cross? It is finished, indeed repeated by John of Patmos in terms of the persecution of the faithful. At the end of the battle, the words of Revelation is, it is done. That's what chapter 16 is, the battle of battles. Then in chapter 17 and 18, there's a description of the devastation and the ruin of the empire. And the empire is described as the empire which is drunk on the blood of the martyrs who were slain. Again, remember the situation. Christians were being slain for not wearing the mark. And indeed, it's a vivid description. It's a literary masterpiece if you enjoy linguistics and enjoy literary skill. It's gruesome, but a symbol of God's greatness, power, and majesty against all earthly powers. Now, it is painful to read, if you will, because in chapter 18, there is a description of how bad things were. Let's read a few verses, beginning with chapter 18, verse 9. And the kings of the earth who committed acts of immorality and lived sensuously with each other will weep and lament over her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing at a distance because of the fear of her torment, saying, Woe, woe, great city of Babylon, the strong city, for in 1 hour your judgment has come. And the merchants of the earth weep and mourn over her because no one buys her cargoes anymore. Cargoes of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls, fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and every kind of citron wood and every article of ivory and every article made from very costly wood and bronze and iron and marble and cinnamon and spice and incense and perfume and frankincense and wine and olive oil and fine flour and wheat and cattle and sheep and cargoes of horses and chariots, slaves and human lives. And the fruit you long for is gone from you. All the things that were luxurious and splendid have passed away from you, and men will no longer find them. The merchants of these things who became rich from her will stand at a distance because of the fear of her torment. They'll be weeping. They'll be mourning, saying, "Woe, woe, the great city! She who was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour such great wealth has been laid waste." That is John of Patmos' vision of the destruction of the wealthiest empire up to that point ever known by humankind. And so we have the description of the devastation of the rich empire who ruled. Now, I referred to Bruce Metcher's book, Breaking the Code. And this is how he describes the chapters we've been dealing with this morning. He writes, John assures the faithful in 95 AD of the ultimate victory of Christ. But Revelation also has a warning for believers down through the years. Babylon is allegorical of the idolatry that any nation commits when it elevates material abundance, military prowess, technological sophistication, imperial grandeur, racial pride, and any other glorification of the creature over the Creator. You see, the message is clear. When any entity, secular or ecclesiastical, succumbs to the lure of power and prestige, judgment will finally be experienced. Whether you're a dualist who believes the judgment will be exercised by God, or a monotheist who believes judgment will be experienced by those who walk in darkness, judgment is real. For Rome, it took 315 years before it fell in 410 AD at the hands of the Goths from the north. This seemed absolutely impossible to think of when it was the all-powerful, wealthy empire in 95 AD. But as a thief in the night, surprises occur, and the love of God will prevail. That's hope. Now, for our discussion on Passion and Palm Sunday, I simply want to offer one thought with you for us to discuss on Sunday and for you to think about. Palm Sunday And Passion Week was full of surprises, like a thief in the night. Jesus entered Jerusalem on an ass rather than on a white stallion, which was expected of the Messiah. Jesus' prayer in the garden was not a petition to be rescued, but a prayer, nevertheless, let thy will be done. In the encounter with Pilate, rather than claiming kingship for himself and saying, you betcha, I'm king of the Jews, like a thief in the night, Jesus surprised Pilate by saying, you have said so. And on the cross, rather than the prayer, Father, destroy them, for they know not what they do, Jesus proclaimed a surprise. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So, what to think about and what we can talk about on Sunday? What are the experiences in your life or in the lives of others that you have observed when hope comes as a surprise, like a thief in the night? We'll look forward to Sunday. Thank you.